The headline you need to know today: Tracking Major Supreme Court Cases and Rulings in 2026, from the New York Times. The Supreme Court term that began last October has been dominated, once again, by President Trump's boundary-pushing policies. And we are now in the final stretch. Over the next several days, the justices are set to issue decisions that could have generational consequences, rulings on presidential power, immigration, citizenship, and more. The next decision day is scheduled for Monday, June 29th. Now, to understand why this moment matters, here's the backdrop. Earlier in the term, the court issued temporary emergency orders. What's coming now is different. These are full rulings, more lasting, more definitive. We're talking about cases on whether the president can fire independent agency leaders, whether the Federal Reserve's independence is protected, and whether birthright citizenship, the guarantee that anyone born on U.S. soil is automatically a citizen, can be ended. And if you missed it back in February, the court already handed Trump a major setback when it struck down his sweeping tariffs on imports. But Thursday brought three significant rulings of its own, so let's walk through them. First, guns. The court struck down a Hawaii law that required gun owners to get permission before carrying a firearm onto private property generally open to the public. The challenge came from three Maui gun owners and a local firearms advocacy group, who argued the law violated the Second Amendment. This decision is also expected to help clarify a legal test the court established back in 2022 in a case called New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, which said courts must evaluate gun laws based on the country's, quote, history and tradition. Lower courts have been struggling with that standard ever since. Also on Thursday, two immigration rulings. In the first, the court said the Department of Homeland Security may revive what's known as the metering policy, a practice that allows officials to turn away non-citizens at the border without hearing their asylum claims. This policy was in place during both the Obama administration and Trump's first term, but was reversed under Biden. Immigrant advocates argue it violates federal law. The Trump administration says it's critical for managing the southern border. In the second immigration ruling, the justices said the president may end deportation protections for hundreds of thousands of Haitian and Syrian migrants. The program at issue is called Temporary Protected Status. It allows migrants from countries affected by armed conflict, natural disasters, or other catastrophes to live and work legally in the United States. Advocacy groups had sued to stop the termination, arguing the government failed to properly consider conditions in Haiti and Syria as required by law. Beyond Thursday's decisions, the court also recently ruled in several other notable cases. The justices found that a Rastafarian prisoner named Damon Landor, whose dreadlocks were forcibly shaved off by guards while he served a 5-month sentence, could not sue Louisiana state officials for money damages. Landor had actually been carrying a legal opinion at the time stating inmates must be allowed to keep their dreadlocks under a federal religious freedom law, and yet the conservative majority suggested that law does not clearly permit such lawsuits. In another gun-related ruling, the court narrowed a federal law banning drug users and addicts from owning firearms, finding it was overbroad, sweeping together casual recreational users with people whose addiction actually poses a danger to public safety. And in a significant blow to the Voting Rights Act, the court ruled that Louisiana's congressional district map was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. The conservative majority did uphold the Voting Rights Act itself, but the liberal justices accused them in dissent of effectively gutting it. The case centered on a redrawn map that added a second majority black district. Voting rights groups are now watching closely to see how this decision ripples across redistricting battles already playing out in multiple states. One more to note, the court decided not to rule in the case of Joseph Clifton Smith, an Alabama man on death row who argues he has an intellectual disability and therefore cannot legally be executed. Instead of issuing a decision, the justices sent the case back to the lower courts, leaving states without clearer guidance on how to evaluate intellectual disability claims in capital cases. With several monumental rulings still to come before the term wraps up, the Supreme Court's decisions this summer may well reshape the legal and political landscape for years to come. Stay tuned for Monday.